coming right there.
All right, hey guys, welcome to Tactical Tuesday live stream. That is some good coffee right there. That is Five Stone Coffee, of course. You guys know the deal. I gotta mute it over here on this one. I got it playing on my other computer because I wanted to make sure it was actually. So I know you guys can hear me because I can hear you. All right, great live stream tonight, but you guys know the deal. I got to give a shout out for tonight's sponsor. You see the ad right here. You know who it is. It's Gunspot. I'll be right back. This week's sponsor is Gunspot. What is Gunspot? Gunspot is an auction site for both new and used firearms, accessories, and more. Buyers get great deals. You never have to pay out-of-state sales taxes or any other hidden fees like a lot of those other auction sites. Guns, ammo, accessories, more, all for sales from dealers and individuals all over the country. But wait, there's more. They got the Gunspot Academy that gives 2A community a blog spot so you guys can view all the latest 2A content, news, entertainment, all that stuff. So anyways, I want to give a big thanks to Gunspot. All right. It's okay. We give a shout out to this week's sponsor. Nothing wrong with that. Little shameless plug. Gunspot, decent company, by the way. That is some good coffee. All right. My screen's crystal clear because I'm actually watching this on OBS. That's a program that my son uses for doing these live streams. But I just want to give you a heads up. If you start getting grainy, locked up signal, if you're watching the news, there's all these thunderstorms that are pouring across the south right now and tornadoes. Well, we're not getting tornadoes here right now, but I am getting thunderstorms and stuff. So I need to lower my mic a little bit. All right. So anyway, if we get cut off, it's because I don't have power and I've got to go grab an Olight. All right, good stuff indeed. We're just waiting for Steve to roll in. Hey, while we're waiting for Steve to get here, I want to give you guys a shout out. I don't know if you caught my little YouTube short my son put up, or if you checked out the post on Instagram, Facebook. Our last Tactical Rifleman class of the year is called High Risk Travel. To me, it is the most educational course that we do every year. It is the first week of December, 6, 7, and 8 December, and or 7, 8, 9, whatever it is. Anyways, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, first week of December, just right around the corner. So if you got somebody you want to give an early Christmas present to, it's an awesome course. It started as a multi-tier course for teaching executives going over to high-risk areas like Somalia, Yemen, stuff like that. But the more me and Chad Mormon thought about it was, why are these executives any more important than you and your family going to Disney World, right? So we changed the outline a little bit, and it was a good course. It covers surveillance, counter-surveillance, terrorism operations, how to pack properly, what we call travel safe, how to pack properly, how to act on an airplane, how to act in an airport, restaurants, hotels, overseas, taxis. There's lots of little things that we take for granted here in the States that are not necessarily the case when you're in either a high-risk area or just traveling internationally or traveling to other parts of the U.S. that you're not used to. The reality is, once you get outside your local area, your comfort zone, everything is unknown to you. So learn from all the tricks of the trade that we have gained over the years. Again, it's not just my information. It is stuff that we've been teaching to government organizations and stuff like that. You guys know the deal. Chad Mormon has taught pretty well all the acronyms up in Virginia. This is what he teaches. So it's a great course. We get down to the level of, we even do escapology, how to get out of different kinds of tape, how to get out of flex cuffs, not just zip ties, the no joke military law enforcement flex cuffs, how to pick handcuffs, and then different levels of the course that goes on. After that, we get into different kinds of lock picking and all kinds of offensive, defensive driving, austere vehicle repairs, hot wiring, Anyway, but that's down the road. But first week of December is High Risk Travel Level 1. Great course. I still have 4 slots left. Angry American is coming in. He's actually putting his wife through the course. And tonight, don't leave. But Angry American's doing a live stream, a podcast or whatever he's doing. He's actually going to be giving away a slot for High Risk Travel tonight on his channel. Don't leave. You don't got to leave. Don't gotta leave, right? Hang out with me. We got a good course, good show for you tonight. So, anyways, there's a couple slots left. Yeah, to me, sincerely, while my Patreon course that we just did is my favorite course to teach each year, besides that, with my patrons, High Risk Travel is hands down. Guys, it's just the best course and. If it's cold where you're at, you understand we only teach this course twice a year. August when it's too hot to shoot, and then December when it's too cold to be outside shooting. So it's all indoors in the classroom. The outside surveillance, counter surveillance drills, you're doing them in a vehicle, or you're going to different meeting places, coffee shops, restaurants, things like that. So, and it's a decent class. I've got a few patrons that are signed up for it. Again, it's open to everybody. I've put this class up for sale. Why? Because everybody reminded me yesterday was Cyber Monday, and I didn't have anything for sale. So I said, what? That's fair. Let's do 10% off High Risk Travel. So whether I fill the course or not does not matter to me. It just affects how much I pay my instructors. Nah, you guys know I take care of my instructors. You know I do. But yeah, anyways, 4 slots left. You can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. You don't have to have a special code for the sale. I've already lowered the cost. You can pay with PayPal, whatever. No big deal. Send me a check. All right. Good stuff indeed. So anyways, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Again, High Risk Travel, last class of the year. Now, the rest of our classes for 2023 are up on the calendar. So if you're interested in taking a Tactical Rifleman class, we've added a few new classes: Gunrunner Pistol, Gunrunner Carbine. There's a low light class, High Risk Concealed Carry, which is not like a concealed carry permit class. You need to do that in your home state so that you learn the laws. Our high risk concealed carry is after you've got your concealed carry permit, you've done some basic dry firing, and you've worked out your draw with your EDC pistol. Now let's get down in nitty gritty about actual fighting drills, drawing under different conditions, different firing positions. And anyways, that's a great course. We've got that one on the calendar. You can find them all at tacticalrifleman.com. The calendar's up. Click on the class you want, or you can go straight to the store and just see the straight list of all the classes there. We got a bunch of great classes coming up indeed. All right, I lost my mouse here. All right, don't tell Steve, even though I think he's watching this in the car on the ride up here, but Moody 2, you guys know Moody 2. By the way, Moody 2's in the chat room with you right now. Moody 2 sent me some of his wife's ambrosia. This stuff is ambrosia. She calls it apple pie moonshine, but this stuff is ambrosia. And they put some in here for Steve H. So anyways, it's still chilled. Can you feel how cold that is? Can you guys smell it? Hold on, I'm going to turn on the smell-o-vision real quick. Smell-o-vision. All right, smell that. Can you smell that? You see the cinnamon stick in it? Can you smell that? Anyways, I'm hoping Steve wants to crack that open. I won't pour it in my coffee, but I will help him drink it. I do need something to pour in my coffee, and that's why I got a brand new bottle. Now it says, no touch till Patreon. Patreon has come and gone. Therefore, this bottle, she's gone. We're going to wear this puppy out. All right, so you guys know the deal. The whole point of doing a live stream is for us, that's you, and me to be able to interact. So I've got my moderators out there. Susan Britcher, she's back home in Australia, and I got the donut here, JT, a couple other moderators that are going to help us out. If you got a question for me or Steve Holland, or for the rest of the studio audience, by the way, it's just me right now. You can put it in the chat. You can do donor box, not donor box. I mean, you can do super chat. You go down right over. It's actually that side for you guys. You put it right there, and you click. You click on super chat, and you give money to the preservation of Carl Erickson Foundation. You understand that's an important charity of mine. You realize how much ammo costs right now? So last year for Christmas, I got this really cool piece of coal. I don't know what Santa brought you guys, but Santa not usually. All right, 3 years straight, I've gotten pieces of coal for Christmas. Not always. Sometimes I get good stuff. You guys don't believe me. You calling me out. You just called me out. That's bullshit. Cannot believe you guys called me out. This is last year's piece of coal. And kind of cool. The cool part is... Anyways, Santa's got a sense of humor. Santa loves me. Maybe not. But God loves me, and that's all that matters. That God and my wife. But yeah, this was my piece of coal from last year. And I have been better this year. I have been. And, all right, I haven't. You're right. I haven't. I stand corrected. Anyways, hoping you guys get good Christmas gifts here. Let's see that. Rifleman threw down 10 bones. Where, when, next Patreon course? You're interested in it, huh? Trust me, you missed a good one. I think Steve wants to talk because this was Steve Holland's first Patreon course. The next one will be at General Butler State Park in Kentucky, and it will be fall of 2023. We can only do this once a year. Oh my God. You have no idea how much work went into this course. A lot of work, guys. A lot of work. Yeah, it was worth it. It was. I got to hang out with. We're supposed to have 30 patrons, and I had a couple guys on standby, and then I had another one like, "Hey man, come on, you got to sneak me in. You got to sneak." And I was like, "All right, I'll sneak you in, but that means I got to let the other guys in too." And the next thing you know, we had 40 patrons, actually 39, and it was a great time indeed. And it was a great time. If you guys are not a patron of Tactical Rifleman, you don't have to be. I'm not going to pressure you guys, not at all. You guys know the deal. We love all of our viewers. But I have patrons that are $1 a month patrons that are truck drivers, and I've got $5 patrons and $10 patrons and $20 patrons, and just got patrons, and they get additional content that the regular internet doesn't get. They don't. They get story time with Carl, quick shooting tips that we don't put out on the regular internet, question and answer videos, lots of good stuff. Warmer than Texas, but I'm bummed to be home. Yes, indeed. That's from Susan Britcher in the chat room. We had a great time. My whole reason for picking that time of year in Texas was because we didn't want it to be too hot. Of course, they ended up getting hit in Texas with a cold spell. So, it was like 40 and 50 degrees at night sometime. We froze our ass off. We bought 2 cords of firewood, and we used a fair part of it. We didn't use all of it because there was a bar, and everybody basically hung out in the bar. The bar had a pool table and everything, and it was just great to hang out. I will let Steve Holland share some of his initial views of it, but yeah, you have to be a patron to attend. Not a big deal. We've got a couple questions come in already. This one is from Mike Hawks, Wolin, Carl. When are you coming to Miami, Florida? Mike, honestly, if I go to Miami, Florida, it will be to visit people. You understand there's no reason for me to teach a class in Miami, Florida. There's just not. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to teach a class in Miami, Florida. I want to teach a class in Miami. I want to teach a class in New Hampshire. And I have taught a class in New Hampshire. I have taught classes in Florida. I've taught classes in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and New York City, which is fun, by the way, getting guns in and out of there. I got people wanting me to do classes in Seattle, Washington. Really? You might as well say North Korea. I'm not going to Seattle, Washington. I'm just not. I've taught classes in California. I've taught classes, but my point though is, for example, April, I taught a class in Texas, and I was down there for 8 days. Refuge Medical did a 2-day medical class, and then we flowed straight into Combat Pistol 101, Combat Pistol Carbine, Carbine Zero Mastery, Advanced Pistol Carbine classes. 8 days straight training. It was awesome. Awesome, great ranges. I had to drive basically an entire day to get there. Not just me, but all my instructors. We had to haul all of our stuff there. We get there, and I've got students there, no shit, from Canada, no shit, from California. He wasn't actually from Miami, but I want to say he was from Tampa. And then another guy in Maine. Literally the corners of North America came to Texas for that class. Great class. We had a great time, Steve. Welcome. But then we had, like 2 weeks later, I did the same set of classes in Kentucky, different range complex, but now I didn't have to pay for all my instructors to drive 24 hours in each direction. I didn't have to pay for all the extra hotel rooms. So, but I still had people, no joke, come. No, that was a class that the guy came in from Canada. It was a guy from Alaska that went to the one in Texas. But again, I had a guy come from, 2 guys from California, cross back into America, and come take the class in Tennessee. And my point for saying this is I used to travel to do classes all the time. But what I've found is, it's not that I don't want to, but it is more cost effective for me and my instructors to stay here, because not only do I have to teach, not only do I have to pay Emery 6 days of training, I have to pay him, Steve's here. I have to pay my instructors travel also. So, and then you start adding in hotel rooms and meals for the instructors and everything. So anyways, we're going to talk about Patreon here in just a minute. Okay. Did you have fun at Patreon?
I did.
Dude, where your sunglasses at?
I was just thinking I need to go get them. Man,
you got time. I'll tell you what, I got a set right here for you, man.
I wonder where you got these from.
The ones you got me. Anyway, so yeah, it's not that I don't want to come to Miami. If I go to Miami, it will be a private class, or I will be there on vacation, which I do from time to time. Next question is from MOC. Is there still a code for ATS Tactical? Yes, there is. You go to atstacticalgear.com. They are right outside Gate 5 in front of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. That's where 5th Special Forces Group and Task Force 160th are. And use code TR10, saves you 10% off of everything there. Yeah, sincerely, great stuff indeed. Come on, phone. My phone is laughing at me. That's the way the phone laughs. All right. Got my next one here. This is from Dependable Kit. Do you like the Enforce weapon-mounted light? Yes and no. Here's my take on Enforce. Enforce lights are decent quality lights. They're great for home defense, but understand that they're just not bomb-proof. I have broken 2 Enforce lights, and I'm not bashing them, all right? But they're like O-lights. I love O-lights. I love O-lights for everyday carry. I love O-lights for their price. I mean, to keep around the house everywhere, for wherever you're at in the house when the power goes out, O-lights are some of the best lights that are out there. For camping, O-lights are some of the best lights for camping. But for combat, they're not going to beat a Surefire. They're just not. And Enforce is in the same boat. Enforce does weapon-mounted lights, and they're just not bomb-proof like Surefire. And I have broke Surefire lights. I have broke Surefire lights. I broke Surefire light mounts, but few and far between. And stream lights, good lights, but not as tough as a Surefire. Enforce, good lights, just not as tough as a Surefire. So, me personally, my work gun, when parachutes start coming around the neighborhood and it's time to circle the wagons and help defend this great country, there's going to be a Surefire light on my guns. That's it. So I'm not against Enforce lights. They're just not they're not as tough as Surefire. Next question, Catch Me Outside. This is for Steve and Carl. What are your thoughts on 7mm PRC? I hear it is a magnum that will fit in a 30-06 size action, so you could rechamber one for it. Problem is finding ammo. Any idea on max range? Steve, that's all yours.
Oh, gosh, guys.
7mm PRC.
7mm PRC. Another.
Welcome, Steve.
Good to be here. TR Nation. Love it, love it, love it. Glad to be back online after that long week last week in Texas. Y'all wore my ass out.
We had fun though, man. We had a good time.
They wore my ass out. Ha! Been a long time since I went 5 days straight nonstop. But 7mm PRC. You guys have to understand where I'm coming from, because I've pretty much done it all when it comes to ammunition development. Way back when everybody was going after the new Magnum with no belts, no belted Magnum, straight case. A lot of it, the non-belted people were like, you got a headspace on the belt in the chamber and all this other stuff, so the other thing is more accurate. It's all selling points. It's all selling points. You have to go back to like Newton. Look at the Newton cartridges. They're all the same. Nothing is new in the world today. Everything is just redone. It's
renamed.
Renamed, redone.
300 Whisper is my perfect example.
300 Whisper.
300 Blackout.
6mm PRC. 6.8 SPC, 6.5 SPC, 243 SPC. It's just they just rename it, give it a better package, better advertising. That being said, these cartridges do provide a certain capability and performance if you don't have anything on your rack in that category. If you don't have anything in that category, I say, yeah, it's a great cartridge. If you already have a 7mm bag,
But would you rechamber a 300 Win Mag in it? If you already had a 300 Win Mag rifle, would you get it rechambered, or would you just get another gun?
If I had a 300 Win Mag...
No, I'm sorry. 30-06. He said 30-06. If you have a 30-06...
Well, if you had a 30-06, you can't rechamber, because you're going from 7mm to 30. That barrel's got to go. So you would have to get a whole barrel. So there's no rechamber.
Well,
you get a new barrel.
Rebarrel. But why would you...
Change calibers totally. Pull that barrel, It depends on what your use is going to be. I mean, if you're target shooting, and let's say you're one of these, as Randy say, one of these yahoos who wants to push out to 1,000 yards consistently, then yeah. If you're doing it for hunting purposes, there's not much a 7mm PRC is going to give you that a 30-06 won't give you within the range of what you're working. Okay, now if you go out west and hunt antelope and mule deer, elk, and you shoot them at 600, 700, 800 yards, then yeah, some of them PRC. If you're an ethical hunter and you want to take game at a distance that you know you're going to harvest it without wounding the animal, having to track the animal and everything else, 30-06 is fine. I love 30-06. I mean, I have other ones. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's a while back ago, 25 years, but Dakota Arms. I have a 300 Dakota. And it is basically the same thing they're coming out with these days with these new non-belted magnums. I wanted it for 1,000-yard shooting on range 4, Fort Campbell when I was running a sniper locker. Have I hunted with it? I don't think I have. I've hunted with 6.8, 30-06, 308.
Yeah.
One of my favorite hunting cartridges was the Remington 300 RSOM, which is one of the ones that I kind of helped develop when Remington had the 300 RSOM, which is almost like the 7mm PRC and the 7mm Winchester short magnum and the long magnum, all that other stuff. But I love that cartridge because it was in a short action rifle, and it gave me another 300-400 feet per second faster in that short action than a 308 Winchester. So to answer your question, it goes back to what I always say. What is your desired need,
Your application
and capability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's another one for you, Steve. This is from Elevated Agenda. He threw down $2 minus shipping and handling. And his question is a hot dog a sandwich? Now, we're going to skip that one. Right. David Bobine. Steve, thanks for the recommendation on the Noveske Flamin' Pig for my 6.8 SPC. Great addition to my deer gun. Thanks, bud.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get it going. Somebody listened.
Yeah, no, the Noveske War Pig, Flamin' Pig is, it's a good break. The concept of it, there's actually another one made by Maxim Defense called the Hate Break. And same concept, but in my opinion, because I haven't given Steve one yet, remind me to give you one so you can play with it. But the Hate Break specifically made for short barrel guns because you've still got that big fireball at the end. It actually contains the fireball better than the Pig does. That's one of their selling point. But yeah, the Pig is awesome, right? Because I haven't convinced him yet. So I'll give you one, dude. I'll give you one. You know what else I'm gonna give you? It's not from me. Not from me. Moody 2 is in here in the chat room. He sent me some moonshine, and one of them even says Steve H. And I'm like, does that mean I don't get to drink this one? So
He's probably thank you
from Moody 2.
Moody 2.
His wife actually makes it.
I'll try it. I'm assuming that's a piece of cinnamon in there?
Yes, you're not supposed to eat the cinnamon stick.
But since Carl opened it...
No, I didn't open that one. I did not.
May I finish? Since Carl opened it, since I wasn't here, he probably done tooted on it and put some water in there, bring it back to the regular level.
Not at all.
Thank you, sir.
Still sealed on the top. I have not cracked that. All right, Moody. I got into the gallon jug that your wife did send me. I did. It's not all gone yet. So, Steve, if you want to try a little bit, you don't even got to crack yours open. But yours is chilled, by the way.
I noticed that.
The other thing we got is Steve mentioned his Patreon course. I kept Steve out there for 5 days. 5 days. Steve busted his ass up on the tower doing, he ran precision rifle for me. And
thanks to Randy and Sue for assisting. I mean, they were awesome.
He had a great time. He had a great time indeed.
Randy was up on the top giving out shooting tips.
He was. We had, Randy had left when this picture was going on, but we have, Steve, you took this picture.
Yeah, what I wanted to point out in this picture, if you guys notice on the left picture, you see the Pelican gun case sitting on the platform next to the shooting mat. That was my station. That Pelican case wasn't there by mistake, and it's not there to put the rifle back in so the next shooter can leave and put his rifle in the box. That is a blast shield. Okay? My man standing here,
G.
G. I mean, all I can say is OMG. G showed up with a bullpup bolt gun and 338 Lapua.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! Yeah, snap.
With no suppressor.
With a brake.
Oh shit! So you were getting the snot kicked out of you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that G! You didn't tell me you did that.
I said I was working with Gordon at the time.
Yeah.
And no, was it Randy? I think Randy was working with G. G cut loose in that first round, and I had to go get on a damn defibrillator, a ventilator, or something, man. 'Cause all my breath I was taking in at that moment got pushed back down in my lungs and locked up. And at first I was thinking, man, that can't be a 08. Then he shot the second round. I said, okay, I got to fix this. I was looking for like a brick wall, but it didn't have one on top of a 55-foot tower. So I put that Pelican case there for my shooter. I couldn't do anything for myself because I was sitting behind the shooter on the spot scope. And G, the guy that just mentioned, thanks for the tip, Randy.
Don't even mention it. Don't even mention it.
On the Flaming Pig from Noveski. That's why I asked Carl, hey, Carl, put that picture on because I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I've talked to you guys about muzzle brakes, and whatever you decide to do, I mean, it's your firearm, it's your choice. But again, if you're shooting next to somebody, my Lord, I say, man, God, what the hell was that? I thought I was back shooting that.
Gee, you got to get a suppressor for that. Anyway, Steve did awesome, and right, Steve covered up my. I got Steve another gift. Where'd you throw it? That white T-shirt.
Oh, okay.
All right, this right here, guys. If you've come to our classes, you'll see my instructors wearing these. We got two. We got a green one, and it doesn't say TR on it because we're not selling. It's not advertising. This is just what the instructors wear. And anyway, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to the team, brother. Welcome to the team. All right, so you guys will be seeing Steve at more classes. We got Precision Rifle coming up this year. Precision Rifle 101 is going to be awesome.
Where's it going to be? Miami?
Miami. It won't be in Miami.
Man.
I'm trying to get.
I haven't been in Miami in like 14 years.
All right. We already got that one. Dependable kit. What do you think of the Remington 280?
Oh, the 280 Remington? Again, application. The 280 Remington, the 270 Winchester, and the 30-06, same cartridges on a different case, different bore size. The 280, most people call it a baby 7mm Remington Magnum. I mean, it gets the job done. I mean, I know some guys back in the day that had 280s as opposed to the 270 Winchester, but I mean, they are so close. It's like going with a 308 Winchester versus a 7mm 08. I mean, it's just so close, and unless you hand load, it's just a matter of bullet selection. Okay, the bullet selection is important. The 270 Winchester, and you can buy factory off the shelf ammo from Walmart and all these other places. Hard to find 280 Remington.
Yeah, that's my big thing. Is 280 is just a caliber you're not going to see. You're just not. It's like 45 gap. Great concept.
Yeah.
The 45 ACP came about in World War I. Think about what kind of gunpowder we had back in World War I. And that 45 ACP casing was filled with gunpowder. Buy 45 ACP ammo now. Even your plus P plus rounds, the casings are not full because the 1911 just was not made for modern gunpowders. It was made for gunpowders that were around back in World War I. So you can get this same muzzle velocity pushing the same slug in a shorter casing, and that's why the 45 gap came about. More rounds, you still get your hand around the grip, but you can't find 45 gap ammo anywhere unless you're going to cut down your own 45 ACP. Nada. Stick with cartridges you can find. I understand we're military guys, so we're always going to tell you that. We just always are. All right. I got to fast forward again here. I got another one. Jeff Bowman. Steve Carl, my nephew is finishing 1 unit, stopped training as an 11 Charlie. What should I buy him for Christmas? And then he goes on, tell me about Fort Riley. 11 Charlie, for you guys that aren't familiar with U.S. Army nomenclature, the 11 series of job occupations, that's infantry. All right, and then out of his infantry unit in basic training, they normally cut people out to go be like javelin gunners or different things, and he got snagged to go be an 11 Charlie. He had a little higher score in math probably. And 11 Charlie are your mortarmen. So after he gets so far through his infantry training, because they do it all at one location instead of doing basic and then advanced individual training. His is all at one spot, but they do slice him out. He's going to be doing mortar training. What to get him? Honestly, he's going to get issued a crappy Gerber. I'd get him this one right here, guys. Get him this Leatherman. Can you read that? You probably can't read that, but anyways, get him this Leatherman. It's called a P4. Pretty sure it's a P4. Yeah, Leatherman free P4. And I've owned literally all the Leathermans. I think there's like 2 crappy Leathermans I never got. This one comes with a belt clip, so you don't have to wear the gay case on your belt. Running around like you're a redneck. It's got all the tools that you need. You've got scissors if you need it. See if I can get to all my things. My serrated blade. Opposite side of that is my fixed blade, and opposite side on the other side is my scissors with a saw. It's got an awl for like sewing tarps and stuff. It's got all your different size screwdrivers. Cool part though is you can get to each one of them one-handed, and that's one of the things that I like about it. But the other part that makes it cool is look how smooth the action is on that Leatherman. Anyways, it's called Leatherman Free. They have a P2, a P3, and a P4. I prefer the P4. I got a lot of miles on this thing right here. I really do. And you'll see it clipped on my pocket everywhere I go. So anyways, he's going to get issued a Gerber. I broke so many Gerbers over the years, but he'll get issued one when he gets to his unit. But called a Leatherman Free P4. And that's what I would get him for Christmas. Everybody's like, well, I got to get him body armor. No, don't get him body armor, because you can get him the best body armor that's out there. His unit's not going to let him use it. He's going to the regular army, and the regular army, he has to have everything the correct same way. And even if you get them the best optic for his rifle, his unit's not going to let him use it. And here's why. I want you guys to understand why. They can't say, all right, you're allowed to use this optic, but not these. You can use this optic and this optic, but not these. They don't do that because guys will buy optics that look like it's the latest and greatest, but it's an airsoft knockoff. And it's junk. It's totally junk. And that's why Big Army won't just let people run any gear they want. They used what the military's issued them, and that's the EOTech, the Aimpoint, or the ACOG. They've got a new low-power variable optic that's being fielded to different units and everything. I got that. But understand there's a reason why Big Army does that. Once he gets up to other levels, if he goes a Ranger Battalion, if he goes Special Forces, whatever, you can get in the units where they allow the operators the latitude to be self-thinkers. But even then, only to a certain point. You were not allowed to carry a .357 revolver on ops. You weren't allowed to do it. Why?
Not supposed to.
Because that's freaking stupid. It's stupid. That's the kind of shit they do back in Vietnam, right? anyways, there's lots of great gear out there. They let the SF guys set their stuff up the way they want, but what he keeps in his pockets is his.
Just keep in mind that the items that, as one of the, I don't know what you call it, not father of, but one of the guys that started the whole SOCMI program, along with Walt Mitten and Gus Taylor and the rest of the guys, we go through a very stringent quality and performance testing, not just somebody going out to the range and shooting a couple of rounds and putting it on YouTube and say, hey, I tested this. There's no such thing as you tested it. You shot it and you commented on a performance. But we go through, I think it's minus 35 degrees to 110 degrees, salt fog test, underwater, see if it leaks. I mean, you're talking about a lot of things that go into the acceptance and contract award to the company that submitted that day optic, because 4, 5, or 6, 7 companies are going to submit to go out to that contract, and they all go through what we call a down selection process, and whatever's selected has passed a lot of stringent
Patron.
Yuck.
Hand it to me. Hand it to me. It's not
Quality
for
control.
you.
You
for
said
you, dude.
you got to say pass the Patron. PTP. So just keep that in mind when you
Pardon
have.
me, Steve. Thank you for passing me the Patron.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure. So keep in mind that that's some of the optics you have, and I'm saying that a lot of these companies out there don't make good optics, but at the same time, at the end of the day, in the cold and the wet and the rain and the mud, I've had optics go bad on me. I'm not going to name the company, but I was deer hunting with a really good friend of mine, Hawk Holloway, out on Fort Campbell years ago in a shotgun-only area, and we were shooting slugs. I had a 1-4 in a shotgun, and a buck came out on his wheat field. He took the shot, didn't hit. It turned toward me, and when I came up, my day optic was totally fogged. I mean, I could see the reticle, but I couldn't see any of the terrain past that. So I tried to do, double eye shooting, kind of like,
Bend and aiming concept.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, Steve. I'm here for you.
Okay, Mr. Bidden. Mr. Bidden.
I'm just.
Trigicon. He hated me. We
I
didn't get
teach
along.
this.
We
I teach
didn't
this
get along. I said, wait a minute. So how you gonna name it your concept when they've been doing that like 200 years ago? And he hated me from that day on. He used to scorn me at the SHOT Show. But anyway, that optic fogged up, and it would have been a nice deer. So just keep in mind when you and I know some of these optics out there, guys, they're more expensive than the rifles. I mean, I know rifles, $500, $550, $600, and you got your high-end guys up to $1,500. But if you buy a Ruger Precision rifle, and say that rifle is whatever it costs, then you want a top quality optic, and that optic is $1,100, $1,200. That's a lot. But at the same time, you don't want failure at the most critical time. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you. I mean, set your the dollar limit, and just do your research. Yeah, like I always say, there's a search engine. It's called Google. Pick up a pencil, write it down, make it suspenseful.
All right, I got. We are caught up. So, right there, Steve. I got another optic for you to test out if you're willing to.
Test?
That envelope has got the all the stats and stuff on it. You're interested in it?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I lost that other one that I had on the show.
I have no idea where it went. So.
Okay.
Don't show it to him yet. Don't ruin it. We're gonna get Steve to do a optic review for you guys.
Not test, because I'm not going to drop it down to minus 25 and go up to 110 degrees and put it in a salt fog chamber for X amount of hours, or submerge it in water for I forget what the crane thing is, 10 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that. But I will review.
Yeah, we do. I do basic beating on stuff. I put it in the oven at 200, something 220, depending.
Put it next to your turkey.
I put it in the freezer. I do put it in a block of ice. I do that, Steve, when I review optics. And then I actually break it with the hammer right out on the firing line.
Do you really?
Film the shit out. I do.
You the man.
No, not the man.
You the man.
It makes for good video. Don't you guys like when I walk out with the block of ice and I hit it with the hammer? I actually load it. I hit it. I get the last bits of ice off of it, and I shoot the group. It makes for good video, right? I don't know. They like it. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't get many views anymore. Whoa, that's a lot of Patron. Hold on, let me. How much Patron did Carl pour in there?
Enough.
That's good coffee there.
That's scary. That's scary. Hey, I want to give a shout out to all the Patreons that I
patrons
that I met in Texas.
We had a good time, didn't we?
Oh yeah, awesome, awesome time. Awesome Americans, awesome patrons, guys. That being my first time doing that and having heard about the patrons throughout the years.
You didn't know what that was.
I didn't know what to expect as in regards to the type people and level of people that were coming to the class, and I was really amazed. It was across the spectrum. It was across the spectrum, God-fearing, God-loving, patriot Americans, and I enjoyed just interacting with you guys, not just doing the shooting, but doing the downtime, just getting to know you, where you're from, your background, everything. I really enjoyed myself.
You actually just got a question come in from Mama Bear, Susan Britcher. She would like to know what was your favorite part of the Patreon course? Favorite part?
Susan, Ozzy. I was like, she probably like.
All right.
My favorite part, Susan.
Steve likes to teach, so he might say being up on the tower, or he might say visiting with everybody in the evenings. One of the two. No, you're gonna say it was spending the night in the bunkhouse with Erica Hodstetler.
Try to get into that bunk. And Randy would ask me. I should have sent a picture of the bunk, and I took a picture of it.
Oh shit!
They have 3 bunks where most people would have 2 bunks. You got the bottom and the top. They have a middle. They don't raise it higher. They stuck a middle one in there.
Right, so I rented the bunkhouse at this cowboy action town. I rented the bunkhouse to house all the instructors. Now, mind you, me and my wife, we got us a king size bed, but
a cottage.
But my instructors, but you guys didn't have to have the middle bunk, did you?
No. Well,
how many were in your room?
Just myself and Randy.
All right, so there were 6 bunks in the room, but there were only 2 people in the room. So
6 bunks, 2 stacks. The gap between the bottom and the middle.
Oh, think Navy. Think about those
maybe a foot
submarines in World War II.
Getting them on top was a problem every night. They're getting on the bottom, so I chose the middle level. So, I mean, if I get woken up in the middle of the night, something going on, I don't have to look up and shoot or look down and shoot. I look straight away and shoot. So Randy said, well, Steve, how do you get into that middle bunk every night? I said, Randy, you ever seen a video of a sloth? Really slow, Randy.
I'm sorry, guys.
So, Susan, my favorite part, and I had a lot of great parts just in the evenings, getting to meet everybody and talk with everybody and being up on the tower at 55 feet in the air and on this wind farm. I said, man, there's a lot of windmills out here. Yeah, it's a wind farm. So you know what? That's what we call an indicator.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody say, hey,
you're going to shoot high wind.
They got all the trailer parks over there in Tornado Alley. Well, why do they call it Tornado Alley? Okay, so we're at 55 feet with no walls around it to break the wind in a wind farm. And
there's no shit windmills everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Big windmill.
Everywhere. But my favorite part was working with you and the rest of the amazing ladies on the lever action rifle.
Yeah.
Because that
on the pre-day.
On the pre-day. Because that to me, I mean, I think it was Maria. I had to go get Maria, Gordon's wife, and Nicole and a couple others, and they were like, I'm done. I'm not shooting anymore. I'm done for the rest of the day because of what? The muzzle brakes on the AR-15s.
Yeah.
When I talked them into give me we'll go back to the tower and Nicole and give me one more shot. But when they started working that lever action and we running 38 special, we didn't, I'm gonna give them something like 45, 70. No. We ran 38 special and they were just amazed and they embraced it. They were like, I love this. And that to me was my favorite part, to know that I know something's gonna work for them, Susan. but they don't know it's going to work, and they've already mentally decided that I'm going to walk back over here to the truck and sit down and eat a sandwich or whatever, and I convinced them to stay just a couple more minutes, and they started shooting that Henry X 357 Magnum lever action, where we were shooting the 38 special ammo
out of it.
and all of them would come back after one or two shooters, and nothing was going on. They walk back and say, "Hey, do you still have ammo for the lever action?" I said, "Yeah, I got about 30 more rounds." And they come back and they shoot, and that to me was my favorite part, to have someone, just trust me.
What we did was the Patreon course is a 4-day course. Steve mentioned 5 because what we do is a pre-day. So if a patron was going to come with a family members, or like he said, spouses that are not necessarily gun enthusiasts like you guys are, they'd never touched a lever gun before, they never touched the AK before, they never touched this, they never touched that. Some of them had never shot 12 gauge before. We started off with the fundamentals of firearm safety, then the fundamentals of basic marksmanship. We do it with a pistol, because if you can shoot a pistol, you can shoot a rifle. It's the exact same thing. Exact same thing. Rifle, pistol, same thing. So, but from there, after lunch, we then broke up to, hey, I want everybody to understand the operating systems, how to load a pump versus a semi-auto shotgun, how to load, unload, clear, and safe an AK, an AR rifle, and then also the lever gun. Steve had the lever gun station. Coach had the AK. Coach had the AK.
Yeah, Coach had the AK.
Sularu was supposed to be there. Sularu got laid up with the flu, so we had him stay away from the clients for the first few days. He showed up at the end. But yeah, no, the pre-day is always a great day because you get a lot of the new shooters. A lot of them are not shooters at all. Maria, he mentioned Maria. Not Gordon's wife, but the other Maria.
Right.
The other Maria, Fred's daughter. Fred's wife. Fred's wife. Fred is a patron. His wife was just gonna, I don't really want to come. He talked her into just coming and doing the pre-day because he wanted her to get exposed to firearm safety and manipulation of the guns. She had so much fun hanging out with Coach and Steve and everybody on the pre-day. She's like, hey, I want to do the whole course. So she stayed longer, and we had a great time. Pre-day is always a good time.
Oh yeah.
Pre-day,
and like I said, it's almost like an honor to work with someone that hasn't had the right person work with them.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned a couple of times on the show, when I was on the AMU, I was a precision pistol shooter. On Saturdays, we would train spouses because we didn't have staff duty or CQ, so we had to do something. Yeah. And they would come out to the range 7 on Fort Bragg, and they would always show up with their husband's pistol, and it was always a 1911 or something like that. And they didn't like it. They didn't like the recoil. They didn't like the weight, the size. So at the time, the Army had just transitioned from the 1911 to the M9, and the MPs used to carry the old Ruger GP100 357 Magnum revolver 38 Special. So they had turned them in. Talked to Coach into putting those pistols out of depot. So we got 25 Ruger GP100, and I would get 38 Special ammo, and we would let the spouses shoot the revolvers. Okay, I'm gonna teach you on the revolver. The last hour you can shoot what your husband told you to bring out here. And each and every time they would shoot that revolver 38 Special, they pick up that 1911. First round, done. Put it down.
Pick up that.
Clear it. Drop the magazine. Chamber open. Okay, give me back the revolver. And I got that same experience back with everyone shooting the lever action, because I got Coach to go get his Smith & Wesson little snub-nosed revolver in 38. Then I let the ladies shoot the 38 Special revolver along with the lever action. And they loved it. They loved it.
By the way, Susan did text me, oi, oi, oi. Funny stuff. All right, Michael Rosales, Steve, great specs. Carl, what do you think of side mounts? I'm assuming he's talking side mounts, like a scope mount on the side of a M14.
No, a red dot sight on the side of a day optic. maybe.
Michael, I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about like mounting a optic with a side mount, like on an AK or a M14, that's the best you could do without milling something.
The M1 Garand.
Yep, M1 Garand, side mount. If you're talking side mounts for like red dot optics on modern firearms, yeah, that's fine if you're running a magnified optic. It is. It's fine.
The Gus Stash. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Cash Me Outside. Do you guys have any experience with Arkin optics? They are getting great reviews. So great. I wondered if they were paid. They're on sale now, though. I'm saving up for a Track Toric. How do they compare? All right. First off, I have no experience with Arkin optics. One thing I will say, though, is they are paying for reviews. I have not. They've not offered me a dime, and I've not shot any of their stuff. I do not have a opinion on their stuff. One thing I will tell you is you specifically mentioned the Track Optics Toric. I have a couple of their scopes. The cool part about the Track Optics Torics, I like their mill one, but they have an MOA one. People say, well, mill's better because that's what the military uses. That is not the case. Understand, if you think of things in yards and inches and football fields, you need to go with a MOA scope. All right? If you're a kilometer and centimeter kind of guy, then do what the military does and run mills. Differences in corrections at a 500 meter target, you cannot even see the difference. So don't even worry about it. Track Optics, though, was a couple of engineers that left Nikon. You guys know Nikon makes great cameras. Nikon also makes awesome spotting scopes and binos and everything else. Well, these guys left Nikon and decided, we're going to make our own optics company, but we're going to sell directly to the end user, and we're going to take out all that cost, the markups going through other people. So you can get a $3,000-$4,000 scope for $2,000 from them. Now they've got some scopes that are cheaper. I got that, but my reason for saying that is they are high quality scopes, glass, and all the inner mechanics and everything. Understand they're a new company that I would not be locking out of a submarine or doing a halo jump from 27,000 feet in the dark, hitting the. You understand? You jump out that airplane, it's the same no matter what altitude. Somebody's going to hit you in the face with a planet, and in the dark, it hurts. It hurts a lot, and that's why the military spends the extra money. I knew my Leopold or my Night Force or my Smitten Bender would hold a zero. So again, I don't have any experience with that other company. I'm not going to bash them or not bash them. Arkin Optics, I'm going to just tell you I don't have an opinion on them yet. Maybe I'll check them out at SHOT Show. New York City Drummer 23, Marvin, threw down 5 bones and just said, Sup, Marvin. Sup. Thank you for your service up there behind enemy lines in New York City. Next question is from Wildflower. Okay, bets. Who was the gassiest? And side bet, whose were worse, Randy or Steve? I'm going to have to save that one for when Steve gets back. I want to remind you guys, this is a family show. We're trying to keep this PG-13. But if you want to talk about Randy and Steve's bowel movements, I'm completely good with that. The Gus Stash 2531 threw down 5 bones. I just wanted to say thanks to your families for their sacrifice. Hey, thank you. I will pass that on to my family. I'll have Steve pass it on to his. Sincerely, the toughest job in the Army is the wife of a Special Forces soldier. We are not gone for long deployments. We're gone for deployments, and then you get back, and sometimes you're gone 2 weeks later. You're gone for deployments, and you're supposed to be coming home, and then you end up 4 days later, calling your wife or emailing her, telling her, hey, we got sidetracked to another country. Been there, done that. My wife has had to put up with that. Long deployments, sometimes not being told what's going on. Husbands that are flipped out. Husbands that have anger issues. Husbands that have nightmares. Husbands that their fuse is that long, they snap and bark, and then, or you get in an argument with them, and literally a minute later you're still pissed off wanting to argue, and the husband is like, what are you talking about? That was like before. That's because SF guys have to be able to turn that on and off, and it's very, very hard on the families. It's very, very hard, especially on the wives. So indeed, if my wife is watching, sincerely, honey, thank you for your service to this great country. Without a doubt. Man, it sucked. Jeff Bowman, if you're watching, Jeff, I want to tell you, hey, my condolences. Today's the anniversary of, he lost his brother in 2008. Jeff asked, hey, if you came down and did a class in Florida, because this came up earlier, right before round canopy parachute parachute team, me parachuting in March, or right afterwards, do it before or do it afterwards, right? We could do a class in Florida. That sounds great, but a couple of things. One, if I wish you guys could see my calendar, I'm literally wrapping up a course here in Tennessee, and then that very night driving down to Florida so that I could do Jump Master Refresher, and then the Operation Sand Snake. That's where we jump out of the C-47 Tycho Bell. That actually ends on Sunday. Sunday's normally the day where me and my wife and my son drive home. My wife and my son are going to drive home to Kentucky. I have to drive all the way to Texas to teach another 8-day course. So I'm already packed front and back. But the other thing is I don't have a range in Texas I don't have a range in Florida where I could teach these classes. And I know people would say, well, there's lots of great ranges in Florida. I have no doubt there are, but I've never been there yet. And I have not worked out a training facility use agreement and rates and hotels, and that takes time to set that up. So Jeff, not this year. Not saying I'm against it. It's a great idea. Maybe down the road, but honestly, not right now. Steve, we had one come in for you.
Okay.
This was from Wildflower. She said, okay, bets. Who was the gassiest? Who was the gassiest in the room with the bunk beds? Was it Randy or Steve? Who was the gassiest?
She's a wildflower going wild. You ever heard the song Wildflower? Old 1970s Motown. It's a song called Wildflower. Beautiful song. Romantic song.
Very romantic.
Very romantic. What was the question?
Who shit their pants the most? Was it you or Randy? Who had gas the most in your room? They're taking bets on the internet, by the way. Who was worse?
I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you. You know why? Because these guys just hold that shit in. They hold it in. All right.
It's a technique.
One thing I'll tell you is
ninja stuff. I can't discuss that because when a ninja is there and the enemy is approaching, you can't fart. So you got to have a technique. Okay, don't.
I was gonna put this video up here so you guys could see it. But what I'll do is, I think I have it right here. Nope, that's mine. I have one. I cannot find it for nothing. Here it is, right here. Want you guys to see that. You know who that is? That is Mama Bear, Susan Britcher, right there. So the Monday, the last day of our Patreon course, we did platform shooting. And What do I mean by that? I have a lot of time shooting from helicopters in the military, Iraq, Africa. I've shot from MH-53s, Blackhawks. I've shot from a bunch of different I've never shot from an Osprey. Never have. But it's fun. Well, I wanted my patrons to have a opportunity to do that. You go into Texas, I hear about all this hog hunting down there. I don't want to shoot hogs. I want to be able to score them on paper targets. So I had steel for them to shoot, but we also had paper targets out, and we did. We scored them for hits. Every patron got to go up in a OH-6 Little Bird helicopter. Same Little Birds that the 160th flies, an MH-6. But same helicopter.
Most commonly shown on the movie Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, Black Hawk Down.
Guys hanging
the
out
Little
with the feet
Birds.
on
Yeah.
the skids and they're shooting them.
The
That's
Little
nice.
Bird is an awesome bird. Dates all the way back to Vietnam. This one was owned by a helicopter company called Mr. D's Helicopters. Tim is one of our followers here. Anyways, guys, if you want to go hog hunting or do platform shooting in Texas, definitely look them up because they do great classes down there. We brought their helicopter in. Every one of my patrons that wanted to do it got to go up not just once, but twice. And at the end, I had a little bit of blade time left, so I took Emery and Coach, who were my two instructors that helped me out there all day long. I put them up in the helicopter, let them go. I told Mr. D, the pilot, I'm like, hey, give them a good ride. So instead of getting 2 gun runs each direction, they got 3, and then they came back. And I'm like, they got any time left, I'll go, right? At the end. And sometimes I put on the harness, go walking out the bird, and I'm like, look, I've done this before, but I know you guys train here. You train law enforcement and stuff. If you guys want to try different gun runs, you want to come in and do laterals, whatever, you want to do 45s, I don't care. And they're like, you've done this. I'm like, yeah, you kind of say I've done this. I've done this a few times. SR-25s, Barretts, I've done quite a bit. They're like, roger that. We're not going to tell you, range command, you got targets, you take them. They let me run out all my rifle ammo, and I mean, Steve, they're standing this bird up on its side. We had a blast. Well, I ran out of rifle ammo. I got on the radio. I'm like, look, I'm Winchester rifle, but I've got 3 pistol mags left. And they're like, well, how good are you with a pistol? And I'm like, well,
Let's find out.
my patrons will tell you 100 meters, but you get me within 50. So they came in over the trees. They stood this thing up over the tower, came down in, and then he brought this thing in and locked up the brakes right between the 2 berms at the 50-meter line, and then just started sliding the bird sideways in. Then I'm like, cack. And
What does it sound like, Carl?
So anyways, I had a good time. That was, my patrons had fun. You got people that they got poo-poo face, they're not having a good day. Put them in a harness and strap them into a helicopter and give them an AR with a brass deflector. And Mother Teresa would have got off that bird and go, holy Mother of Jesus, that thing was awesome. So anyways, I had a good time. I ran out of pistol ammo, and we had a good time.
And I knew they were going to have a good time. A couple of them had asked me as they were rotating, and I told them, I said, even as much time as I had in, I've only worked with the Little Bird one time. I think Sue put in 24 years.
Yeah.
He's never been on a Little Bird.
Never been on a Little
Because
Bird.
Little Birds, that's not common to our units. That's not common to our operations. Our operations are Blackhawks, MH-60s, and MH-47 Chinooks, Special Ops Chinooks. We don't do Little Bird work, so having
A15 got to play. Yeah, A15 got to play. Yeah.
So I knew that even the ones that's like, man, I don't know, it's cold. I said, yeah, it was cold that day. I said,
we had a good time.
That prop blast. But once they got in that bird, that pilot started working it. I mean, that's something that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life.
Guys, they let me hang all out that thing. I had a good old time. I did. I had a good old time. So that was my, for 5 days, I didn't let my guard down at all. 2 nights we had live streams, and sun up to sundown. I didn't get to visit that much because I had to orchestrate things. So This was the last day, the end of the last day, and I got to unwind for a few minutes. So I appreciate my patrons letting me burn up the last few minutes of aviation fuel. You guys think diesel went up in price? Thank you, President Biden, for doing that. By the way, I mean literally, I wanted to stick these all over the outside of that helicopter because I'm the one that had to cut the check for all that fuel. You do not even want to know how much that cost me. 4 hours of blade time. That's right. It was worth it. My patrons had a great time. They did. They had a great time. Next year, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because we change the schedule up every year. We do. We change the schedule up every year. Things we're going to cover, different subjects and stuff. We had a great time, though. We did. We
Next
had a great
year,
time.
70 degrees.
70 degrees. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably a good
55-foot tower at 34 degrees of sleet on a wind farm. Why do they call this a wind farm?
Point Blank Simulator threw down £5 of the Queen's money. I'm sorry, it's the King's money now.
King's money, yeah.
Evening, gents. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Evening, gents. Do you have any recommended alternatives to helmet-mounted PVS-14s? All right. When it comes to night vision, I know everybody wants to run binos and quads because that's all the latest hotness. I got that. Guys love thermals because that's the latest hotness, and thermals are awesome. There are some great fusion binos and binoculars out there that are awesome. First night vision you ever buy. Now understand, I've probably got
a gazillion,
$100,000 worth of night vision.
A gazillion.
I'm not exaggerating. All right, please don't break in my house. This life you save may be your own. All right.
Yeah, you can buy two
a lot of them
thermals
aren't here,
that
by
have
the way.
100,000.
Yeah. The first night vision you buy, I recommend you get a PVS-14 because a PVS-14 you can wear helmet mounted. You can wear it on the Skull Crusher while you're driving. You can drive with it. Did I mention that? You can't do that with a thermal. A thermal can't see through glass. Everybody thinks thermals can see through walls. They can't even see through glass. When you're hunting or when you're walking across the desert with that big mountain rucksack, you can hang a PVS-14. Did I mention when you're hunting? Right? You're going out to that bow hunting stand early in the morning. You hang a PVS-14 around your mouth. You hear a noise off to the side. You bring the PVS-14 up and you look for it. You don't have to keep it mounted on your head all the time. You kind of have to do that with binos. And so you see guys that get binos, they got to wear a helmet and everything. PVS-14s just have so many uses. They store better. So honestly, you're looking for a different recommendation than a helmet-mounted PVS-14. Just get a PVS-14 and don't put it on a helmet. Get this Skull Crusher headset, which if you're getting a PVS-14, it should come with that.
The main thing you need to think about on the PVS-14 is, again, going back to my previous statement in regards to what the military puts each type of equipment through as far as testing, true testing. The 14, you were getting something that has history behind it, proven that it's going to perform. I like to let mine hang when I'm moving at night. I don't need to see every step I take, every move I make. Okay, but I do like to scan. You like that?
Yeah, I like
every
it.
move
I like
every step I take. So 14s have been proven time and time again. Cold, hot, water immersion, salt fog testing, shake test, drop test. It's been proven. Yep. Some of these other products you're gonna get on the market, and there's some new ones out there. They haven't gone through that because they haven't been selected for the military. Yep. And you might pay some good money, some serious John Wick coin, and a year or two later you're like, man, this thing stopped working, and you're not gonna get your money back.
Yeah. AGM Global Vision is a company out of Arizona that makes good PVS-14s, and I understand there's a bunch of companies that make PVS-14s, like there's a bunch of companies that make AR-15s. Think of it the same way. They have to have a certain mil standard. as Moody mentioned, ATN. ATN doesn't make bad stuff, but they don't make great stuff either. ATN is kind of Ukrainian level of technology. I'm not bashing it. All right. One thing I like about AGM Global Vision is they bring in. You can get and all companies offer different quality tubes. You don't see too many Gen 1s anymore, but like Gen 2s, Gen 2 Plus, Gen 3s. There'll be people that say Gen 3 Plus. There's no such thing as Gen 3 Plus, all right? And as far as ghost white phosphor versus green phosphor, it really doesn't matter. For people that say, I had the green ones in Iraq, but when the guy handed me the white phosphor, man, it was just so much clearer. Understand, his green one had been in Iraq for a year and a half and the tube was shot, and they were handing him a brand new ghost white phosphor. That's why it looked clearer. All right, but it's apples and apples, really doesn't matter. What I like about AGM Global Vision is a lot of their Gen 2 Plus tubes are just as good as as far as brightness and clarity, they're just as good as a lot of the Gen 3 tubes that you're getting from some of the other bigger companies. So anyways, just food for thought. I also heard, I know this for a fact, Armasight, remember they were putting out such high quality stuff to compete against the bigwigs that one of the bigwigs, Fleer, actually bought them out to shut them down. Well, and they did. They shut down Armasight basically. Armasight was just bought back out again and is now their own company. I'm hoping for great things again from Armasight. Full disclosure, I have not seen any of their stuff yet. I'm actually looking forward to SHOT Show this year. All right, got another super chat. Michael, not super chat, just a question from the Peanut Gallery. You guys don't got to do super chat if you don't want to. Don't get me wrong, if you want to do a $200 super chat, that would be awesome. Seriously. Michael Turcati, what is the difference between accuracy and instinctive shooting and the in-between? Accuracy and instinctive shooting. Funny you should mention, is he talking long range or short range? He's talking about point shooting versus actually aiming, I'm assuming. Yes?
That's one of those questions that you have to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
Give us an example.
If you were talking point shooting versus using your sights, matter of fact, I'll tell you that is this Friday's video. So you're only a couple days away from getting it. But me and Emery actually do a video on, it's actually called Aim with Your Body, Confirm with Your Sights. And the whole argument that, you're not going to be able to use your sights in combat, in fight or flight. You're not going to be able to use your sights. You're just going to point. Here's why they say, and that's what I was taught by all the old timers back in the day. The reason why they say that is when you are in fight or flight, you come into the room, the bad guy's right there with a gun, you're not going to be able to take your focal plane off of that bad guy and then move the focal plane back to where your sights are, and then move it back to the bad guy to follow through, and then move it back to your sights for a follow-up shot. There is truth to that. Here's the problem with that. And there are whole schools that teach point shooting. There are whole schools of it. And they swear that out to 10 yards, they are just as accurate. Here's the problem with that, though. One, what about when the target's at 11 yards instead of 10 yards? If all you've ever done your whole life is point shooting, teaching your body not to look for your sights, what are you going to do all of a sudden when it's 11 yards? Now all of a sudden you're going to start looking for sights that you've never practiced for. You see how there's a flaw to that, number one. And number two, Bill Rogers, those of you that don't know who Bill Rogers is, he designed the whole Bill Rogers combat pistol shooting system. He was, back in the 70s, he was the head instructor at the FBI HRT. He's also the guy that invented Kydex holsters and all the patents for Safariland and everything. Bill Rogers is awesome. He's late 70s now. He's still one of the greatest Americans you'll ever meet. He ran tests back in the day, point shooting versus using the sights. And there is zero time difference. Point shooting is not faster. No matter how much people think it is, and they'll tell you it is faster, it is not faster. It is not faster. But here's the main reason why you need to train with your sights, right? Because to get good at point shooting, you've got to do it correctly. And what I mean by that is muscle memory. And I know a lot of people don't like the term muscle memory because muscles don't actually have memory. Yeah, guys, I got that. It's semantics, okay? But a habit, muscle memory, right? Muscle memory is your subconscious mind executing a task. Work with me here. We're going to use muscle memory, make it easier for all you single-digit IQs in the front row here. Moody, I'm looking at you. Nah, I'm joking. All right, so muscle memory, in order for you to build that muscle memory to be able to press that firearm out and get that hit, point shooting, it takes 3,000 to 5,000 repetitions to push something into your subconscious mind. Push that task into your subconscious mind. 3,000 to 5,000 repetitions. But it takes 3,000 to 5,000 correct repetitions. So if you're practicing 3 or 4 different ways to do it, none of them, you're not going to be good at any of them. Pick one way and do it correctly. So by you always aiming with your sights and always making sure your sights stop lined up perfect on that bullseye every time, they line up perfect on that bullseye every time, 3,000 to 5,000 reps. Come the moment of truth, if you are too scared at 5 meters to pull that focal plane off of that bad guy, when you go to press that gun out, it is going to present perfect. So those of you that are training using your sights, which I tell you is the correct way to train, by the way, you're already training your body for point shooting. You are. So now, for all of you monkey boys out there that do the latest hotness on the internet, latest hotness, you understand point shooting was the latest hotness back in the 90s. Hotness. You had to do point shooting. Can you practice shooting from the hip and be accurate? You can. Out to 10 meters. You can. Past 10 meters, you're not getting headshots. You're not getting the T-box. You're not. But at 11, 12, 15 meters, you practice, guys, you're in that T-box all day long. You're in the T-box all day long. All day long. Just it is what it is. All the guys that say, yeah, I do point shooting because statistics show that, 95% of all your shooting incidents happen within 3 meters. And what about that other 5%? If I told you you got a 5% chance of winning that $1 billion lottery, 5% chance, every one of you guys would be buying lottery tickets. That's just the truth. That's how that works. So don't do point shooting, guys. Don't do instinctive shooting. The guys that will shoot their bows with their eyes closed, they'll look at the target, shut their eyes. That's a carnival ride. That's if you're shooting deer like that, that's inhumane. Now, does muscle memory work? It does. I know an instructor at Tier 1 group. His name is Sid Jordan. Sid Jordan is awesome. All right. Sid, if you're watching, and I'm never going to admit to his face that Sid's awesome, but Sid is awesome. I love Sid. I watched Sid at it was a WPS class. He was training contractors to go overseas. They had to do the regular Army pistol qual, which is like standing, crouching, kneeling, and prone, and 25 yards. Big paper target. He did the entire test with his eyes closed, blindfolded. Did the whole test. He would line up, make sure his natural point of aim was correct, and then he would close it. He'd holster up, close his eyes. He would draw, and he didn't get a perfect score, but he got a passing score with his eyes closed. How come? Natural talent? No, nada. Sid's not a good human being. He's just not. He's a meh. He's meh. He was in the Coast Guard. Sid puts in all the reps, and Sid is a great instructor, but Sid is also, because he instructs so much, Sid has got the muscle memory to be able to point shoot like that. So Sid is awesome. Sid is awesome. I love having Sid come in, especially if I'm teaching like a Rogers Range course or something. Having Sid come demonstrate the drills, Sid is a joy to watch because he's memorized all the tests, all the drills. He can clean the thing. He really can. Jordan does a great job. Yeah, I know there's lots of other instructors out there that say you need to be able to do this and do this. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but you can go back and watch all the other training videos that they did back around World War II. And there's a reason why we don't do those pistol techniques anymore, because technology has improved, but not just firearms and gunpowder and optics. Technology has improved to where you can actually analyze and study movements and reactions of the body. And all your Olympic athletes today are outrunning and outperforming all your Olympic athletes back in World War I, World War II. Why? Because we have analyzed step by step how to come out of the blocks faster, how to do this, how to enter the water smoother. And what it allowed us to do is we learn those, Colonel Cooper's different codes for levels of awareness and everything. There's lots of things we learn from these guys, but understand a lot of the techniques that they teach. I'm not against you learning them, because I want you to keep lots of different techniques in your mental toolbox. But there's a reason why we don't do what they did back then. We shoot two-hand because it's more accurate. It is faster and more accurate. I'm not bashing them. I'm not. I just think that there are better ways to do certain things. So instinctive shooting, you will crush instinctive shooting if you master shooting with your sights for accuracy. Speed will come. All right. Someone says I need a haircut. This is the part where I remind you I don't care. I'm retired, guys. It's allowed to touch my ears now. Random American threw down $10. With regards to reloading, what opinion do you each have on annealing? Brother, I will save that one till Steve gets back. Steve is out doing what Steve does best right now. Before I get to that one, though, I want to hit you guys up. I got to get Steve his Kringle, too. Don't let you guys don't let me forget. Another patron sent the Danish Kringles. If you don't know what a Danish Kringle is, one, crike yourself because you've been living under a rock for too long. But two, if you don't know what a Danish Kringle is, you need to basically stand up and go walk and look at yourself in the mirror and feel sorry for yourself, because a Danish Kringle is like one of the best pastries you'll ever have. It's a big, long, round thing. It goes great with coffee in the morning. Don't let me forget to give you your Kringle. One of our patrons sent a Danish Thanksgiving coffee cake for me and my family to have Thanksgiving morning. But he also sent Danish Kringles. I put Emery's and Randy's in the freezer, but yours and mine I left out because I knew you were going to be here today. You know what a Kringle is? It's a ring pastry. Cut it up and have it with coffee in the morning, and it's orgasmic, dude. It'll blow your mind. If you want to go grab it, it's in the fridge right now. And you guys remind me before the end of the show. I will get it for them. I try not to say specific people's names on here because some of my patrons are more sensitive about their names being on the internet and everything because of the jobs that they work and everything. But if you're if you're the patron that sent the Kringles, Mike, you know you're awesome, and thank you so much for sending it. They were truly, truly awesome. Moody, I don't care about you, brother. You already know you're awesome, and thank you so much for the moonshine. Moonshine. I'm not a big moonshine drinker. I'm really not. I know you guys think I drink a lot. I really don't. Because when I go out, ask the patrons. The patrons will tell you they did not see me drink a drop of alcohol except for the very last night. I had a small glass of dead red wine. Random American brought a bottle of dead red that I had given him as a gift. He brought it to the Patreon class for us to share with the other patrons. Thank you, Random American, for doing that. I think Susan drank most of it. But my point, though, is I don't drink a lot out in public, especially if I'm doing classes, because I can't let my guard down. If I'm out with my family, one, I don't believe in carrying a firearm while you're drinking alcohol. I don't have a gun. I'm secure right here, right now. All right, so that's why I'm doing a little Patron. But sometimes, on occasion, I will let my guard down here on the hill. I'm looking at 28 security cameras, okay, up on the TV behind here. And the hill is safe tonight. So anyways, I drink every once in a while. Not big on moonshine. Moonshine, to me, should be put in your lawnmower. That's what it tastes like to me. Moonshine belongs in a lawnmower. But I don't know what it is. Moody 2's wife. This stuff's called apple pie moonshine. And, dude, I'm here to tell you this stuff is good. Moody, you did good marrying that woman. You did good marrying her. Give her a nice little, for me, and tell her a little kiss on the cheek. All right, so, yeah, good stuff indeed. Got to get him his Kringle. All right, guys, we are at... Wow, we're at 2.5 hours already. I'll tell you what, once Steve comes back in, let's wrap this up tonight. You guys have had some good questions. Steve, I got another question for you if you're ready for it. From Random American. Annealed brass. It's a legitimate question. I'll wait for Steve. All right, a couple of you have been asking about my new ATS Tactical Gear belt. I got to get back with Jimmy Bonner. The belt has been for sale at ATS Tactical Gear. If you go online there, you can pull up the Tactical Rifleman belt, which I thought was kind of cool because there's actually a military unit that bought the Tactical Rifleman belt for all their operators, which I thought was kind of cool. They list at $145. Don't forget to use TR10, saves you 10% off of everything. Saves you $14.50. That's not bad. Now, we are going to do a whole TR setup. And so, in other words, you can buy the belt and it will come with the mag pouches and the lowrider piece for your Safariland holster. Won't come with the holster because holsters are specific per gun. But it'll come with the dump pouch and the 2 AK mag pouches and med kit. Tourniquet holder, stuff like that. Notice I said AK mag pouches. Why? Well, because two things. One, it's my belt. I can do whatever I want. I run AK pouches instead of AR pouches for two reasons. One, you never know what gun you're going to have to pick up. For me, I might be having to teach a class on AKs, in which case I don't want to have to swap mag pouches. An AK mag will fit inside my pouches, my carbine pouches. Two, if you've ever looked at a AR mag compared to an AK mag has got the button on the front and it's just a little bit wider. So by you running AK mag pouches, it gives you a little extra slop for you being able to get your mags back in your pouches quicker. All right, still retains AR mags just fine, perfect. As a matter of fact, got the Kydex insert on them, and then the retainer that goes over the top of all your mags, except for your speed reload mag. Same with the pistol, same with the rifle. But yeah, that setup, I don't know if Jimmy Bonner's ready to sell the whole setup yet. They're waiting on Kydex inserts for the AK pouches. So anyways, I'll double check on that for you guys. But anyways, you check that out. ATS Tactical Gear. They're good people. They really are. I support them. Could I run Cry Precision body armor and kit? I could. Could I run London Bridge or Mayflower? I could. I've got stuff made by Paraclete. I've got stuff made by Cry Precision. I got stuff made by everybody. Why do I always go back to ATS Tactical Gear? One, the price is perfect. But more importantly, it's high quality. But for me, I have loyalty to them because they always took care of my unit. Anything my unit needed, if I needed a custom tailored back panel for our body armor to hold a certain charge or a certain breaching tool, whatever it was, they're like, roger that. I have been sitting there, I've been there at the counter talking to Jimmy Bonner about whatever, and like a crew chief from Task Force 160th comes walking in. Hey, this pouch, I got it hung up on the side of the bird, jumping off, it's tore. He said, yeah, no worries. He will take that pouch, literally stop one of the seamstress there that's currently making kit. He'll have her stop and have her fix it on the spot while that guy waits. That is customer service. So anyways, I think it's pretty cool. Steve, we got a question for you before we wrap this up. All right? He's like, yes, Carl, what is the question? All right, this is from Random American, who was at the Patreon course, by the way.
Really?
With regard to reloading, what opinion do you each have on annealing? Talking about annealing your brass.
Trying to think. Random America. Anyway.
He's getting his thoughts together.
I don't care for annealing. Never have. I try to avoid it as much as possible.
Enlighten them, because a lot of them don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, as soon as I step in this room, I get like allergies. I don't know what you got blowing in there. Hey, the annealing is where you when you're sizing, whether you're sizing up or sizing down, it affects the thickness of the brass, especially the neck. And annealing is a heating process that you use to make corrections on your brass, the floor of the brass.
I'm trying to find you guys like an example of it.
And you always know annealed brass because you see this dark color around the case neck, and it's a lot. Like I never like sizing
It
down.
looks kind of like that, but it's not. What do you think?
Kind of like that, but it's not. Yeah, that's it. The I don't like sizing down because you think about it. If you take, let's say you take a 308 and you want to size it down to 6.5, push shoulder back, make like a 6.508 or 6.5 Creedmoor. The quantity of that brass, when you're forcing it from 30 caliber, forcing it back down, you got a lot of brass built up in that neck, the thickness of the brass. And you've got to trim that to get, even though your inside the neck is the right bore size, the outside is thicker than it normally would be because you're coming from 30 to 6.5. You got thicker brass. If you went from 6.5 to 30, it's
It'd be
different.
much thinner.
Yeah, it's much better. I always prefer sizing up to sizing down. When I did the 6.8 and I had a choice between the 30 Remington fully sizing die and the 25 Remington, I went to the 25 Remington because I wanted the neck up. I didn't want to take the 30 Remington and then I wanted the neck back down because I didn't want to deal with the whole annealing process and everything else. I have a really good friend that is a super reloader. He anneals. To me, that's just another step in the process of reloading. that there's so many steps and things you're doing that I don't want to add, running a torch, to the whole thing. Because say you got 100 cases, you got to deal 100 cases. That takes a lot of time.
And they have to be the same. The big thing about accuracy, guys, is consistency. Accuracy is equated by precision, right? So having a precise rifle, shooting precise ammo with a monkey that's well trained behind it, aiming precisely, gives you accurate shot groups, okay? But part of that, remember I mentioned the rifle, but then I also mentioned ammo. Everything has got to be precise and consistent. If you, different neck pressures, different this, different tolerances, different, you see you're no longer consistent and you're going to make things different. So anyways, to me and kneeling, you're adding an extra step that's not necessary.
Yeah, especially when you can get brass.
That's already perfect.
Like 308. I love myself some normal brass. Oh my gosh. All my 308s, I get a normal brass and then I do my own loads. I couldn't think of having to kneel to go through that whole process. But one of the things, I know we got other things I want to talk about real quick before we jump off. Yeah.
Did you turn on your light?
No,
He didn't turn on his light.
Guys,
my son, starting 2023, we're gonna have it so he makes a special noise whenever he opens up his box of woe. Holy shit! You brought muzzle brakes, didn't you? Oh,
Okay.
dude, man.
muzzle brakes. Flashback to Grandview, Texas, Beaumont Ranch.
Dude, where'd you get this one at?
That's a Surefire Warden.
Yeah, I know, but where'd you get it at? These things
For
are hard to
Surefire.
find.
For
I mean, they're
Surefire.
hard to find, dude.
So,
Can you find me 3 of those?
well, let's
I gotta get you.
talk to Barry.
I gotta get you a paper.
So what we have here, guys, and this is based on what happened out in what's that? That wasn't really 35. Tiger Valley during the Patreon course, and the big boomer that we talked about. When you have muzzle brakes like this, and we've talked about it before, it vents horizontally and some vertical, right? I prefer not to use those because in a tactical situation, that kicks up a lot of grass, a lot of debris, a lot of dust and sand. It gives you a position away, and it makes your spotter observer have to deal with that muzzle blast, and especially if you're shooting a Barrett. Now, if you go online and you look at spotter observer positions, he's tucked in right next to the sniper, almost equal shoulder to shoulder with a spotting scope. If you see that with the Barrett, the observer is in between the legs of the shooter because the observer can't take that muzzle blast. Now out in Tiger Valley up on a 55-foot range, G had a bullpup, which that barrel length is still the same length, but now it's tucked in farther because the receiver is further back. And he had, I think, a 3-vent or 2-vent muzzle brake which vented horizontally. It was wiping everybody else out. That's why I put the gun case up to block some of that blast for the shooter. As a spotter, I was just eating it all. And I mean, he was having such a good day, working out to 1,000. He just didn't realize that he would just. And now I got a shooter that he's thinking more about what's happening to his right because you hear the guy go ready and the spotter goes send it. He knows what's coming. So, as we've talked about before, I like linear muzzle brakes, which basically the main one that we use is the Noveski Flaming Pig. That's my preference. Carl is saying there's a new one in the game that I haven't had a chance to.
So I'm giving Steve one right now. All right, it's a little wider, but basically same concept. So yeah, I agree that one's awesome, but this one also has a great rep. I want Steve to test them, say which is better. Because
if you look at this, like this is a Surefire war muzzle brake that all the special ops uses. Well, if you're not running a suppressor, but you don't want to spin this off and then have to put on a linear muzzle brake. They make the Warden, which fits down over the top of this, which gives you the same thing. It reduces your flash and is pushing the blast forward away from the shooter. And that's the key thing. Away from the shooter, no debris, no grass, no dust, sand kicking up. And if you're on a range and you're not in a tactical situation, which most of you aren't, you don't want to blow up the guys to your left and to your right. So far, what I've worked with that seems to meet that requirement, if you don't have a suppressor and you don't want the ATF coming knocking on your door every 6 months saying, "No, look at your suppressor," you know. So the only other alternative is the Noveske Pig. Now this is the KX5, and the KX3 is a little bit wider in diameter. And here's another commercial linear brake. As you see, it doesn't vent. I'm so bad at this. It doesn't vent to the left or right. It vents everything forward. So basically, again, I don't get in here trying to push any product, especially if it's a company that doesn't support the show. But I will share with you what I believe is the better way to go about your shooting to help you shoot better, perform better, and hopefully, if it is a home defense, self-defense situation, to win. Okay? I always want you guys to win. So just something to think about. Have any questions, send me your questions. If there's anything out there that you guys have that you believe that I don't know about and you think that it is equal or better, just let me know. Give me a shout.
All right, guys, you heard that. We're going to wrap this up tonight. We are coming up on our 2-hour mark. All right, so we're going to wrap this up at 9. I got a few more minutes. And got a couple more questions just came in. What do you guys think of the Ruger new 308 and an AR-15 size? It's actually not. Remington had a AR-10 that actually used a lot of your AR-15 parts on it. It's not really new. It actually had 2 ejectors on the face of the bolt instead of 1. Not really, until I've shot it. So sounds awesome. I'll tell you what, I will stop by if Ruger's out at range day, which is the day prior to SHOT Show. I know me and Emery are going to range day, and I'll look for it. They're Marvin. I will. That's Marvin out of New York City. Marvin. What's up, Marvin? What's up? All right. Catch Me Outside asks, Carl, have you ever seen or treated someone with tonsil stones? No, I've not treated anybody for it. I've heard of it. If you guys have ever looked down in your throat, where basically where your eustachian tubes, understand when you, everybody understands your eardrums, right? You stick the Q-tip in too far, you touch your eardrum, it hurts like hell. What allows that drum to move back and forth, you've got to have air behind it. And what that is that tube runs all the way down to the back of your throat. So that's why if your ears feel clogged up, you can do Valsalva, hold your nose. I just have both my ears pop. What I did was, because your eustachian tubes basically sit like your esophagus. It sits flat until you swallow food. Likewise, shy of snot draining down and everything else, eustachian tubes that basically sit, they're not really used for anything other than basically equalizing the air pressure behind your ears. But those tonsils right there, if you look back there, a lot of times they look ugly. They're kind of like looking at grandma's old meat curtains down there. They're not pretty to look at. Tonsils just aren't pretty to look at. But when guys start getting, you've heard of people with strep throat, streptococci, that bacteria infection down on there, you get all this snot and bacteria, and every time more snot, more food that you're eating and drink, and that feeds the bacteria grows, and a lot of that stuff will harden up. You'll see guys that have got white chunks of like hard pus back on their tonsils, and you can get all kinds of crap back there. Guys that remember way back in the day, they used to remove tonsils on kids, and that's because there weren't a lot of great antibiotics back then. To be honest with you, I wish they still did it today, because you've got different tonsils in the back, but the ones that are most visible, they get inflamed a lot more than any other spot. They're sitting in a spot where kids and adults get a lot of. I've had strep throat so many times, and Big Army, they don't remove your tonsil. They just give you another Z-Pack. Here's some more amoxicillin. Here's this. Here's that. Right? How many times?
No, I still got my tonsils.
Me too. I've still got my tonsils. One of my tonsils has got so much scar tissue on it because it got so inflamed and swollen. I actually hocked up a chunk of meat. So it looks uglier than the other one because part of it had necrosed so bad it broke off. Right?
I'm trying to unsee that.
They just give you more penicillin and whatever the antibiotic was. I was back in the infantry then. It happened. So I wish they would remove tonsils, but liability reasons, costs, this, that, and the other. Surgeons don't like to do it because their whole thing is, why would I do it when all I got to do is just give you another $250 dose of antibiotics? I make $50 out of that because the pharmaceutical companies give the doctor the kickback.
Big pharma.
And he gets you out of the office without having to do a invasive surgical procedure. So I see it their way, but my thing is, I don't like having to have my kids go back and get treated for tonsillitis every year. But also, I like looking long term. What about down the road when society crashes and there's no more access to a lot of this medical support, higher echelons of care? Knife and blade. I don't know how to remove tonsils. I don't think I'm capable of that surgery.
In response to, anyway, here's a question for you guys. Do any of you guys have any experience or knowledge you can share with me on diesel exhaust systems? Okay, it's breaking me down. I got a 2012 GMC 2500 HD.
You still don't have that truck running yet?
No, I don't have a running car. It's going in a limp mode. This is the fourth time. The first three times they fixed it, it was under warranty. The fourth time, even though I paid for the extended warranty, I only have 82,000 miles on this truck. But I was past the 5 years, so they wanted $9,200 to fix it. I said, well, if you fix it, would it happen again? Yeah, $9,200. And I said, well, if I pay you to fix this, will it not happen again? The guy says, no, I can't guarantee that. So I said, you had a recall on the same thing. He said, yeah, but that was trucks with 250,000 miles. You only have 82,000, so you didn't meet the recall. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, what does that mean? Yeah. So I've heard all these different theories. Everybody said, yeah, man, it's just a chip. You put the chip in and your truck. But every time I actually call somebody on it, they're like, well, man, I only heard that from somebody who heard that from somebody who heard that from somebody. So any of you guys know anything about GMC 2500 HD Duramax, the Allison transmission that everybody talks about? Oh, it's good, Duramax. I got a Duramax that don't fucking work. Okay? So it went from limited to 55 miles. Now I'm limited to 20 miles an hour. Ooh. So I'm like, I can pull to the front yard and pick up some branches and then back up into the garage. I can't go out on the road. So any of you guys out there that have any knowledge on the DEF system for GMC, let me know. What's the secret answer? Because everybody's like, yeah, do this chip.
Hey guys, let's see if we can actually help Steve with this, because I've been watching his truck sit in the driveway for 2 years now, and I thought he had it fixed already. All right. No, I'm not asking for you guys to give Steve $9,000.
No. I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, exactly.
But if there's some secret.
Is there somebody out there that knows somebody at GMC? Do any of you guys?
No. It's not somebody at GMC. They're not. This old guy told me down in Georgia, and he worked. This guy's like 80-something years old. He worked there for like 40 years. He goes, there's a chip that tells the computer to ignore what the DEF system is saying. And if that's true, but I also hear you,
Where do we get this chip?
We can cut off your doggone exhaust manifold and all this other. And I was like, guys, come on now, come on. I got 82,000 miles.
That's nothing on
Nothing
that.
on a diesel truck.
Yeah.
No. All right. So anyway,
One of you guys out there's got to know. If you don't, honestly, do you know somebody that's right? We got lumberjacks out there. I got truck drivers. I got everybody watching. Are you guys out there, you country boys that have diesel trucks around you, right? It's a 2500.
yeah, 2500 HT, 2012, 2500 HT,
2012, and it doesn't run. You guys realize how
It
wrong that
runs.
is?
It runs.
No, it doesn't run.
At 20 miles an hour.
If I can't do 80 miles an hour, it does not run.
Oh, dude, you talking about putting on a trailer? When I first hooked that thing up, that trailer that Emery had.
When you had 6 miles on it, but not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now.
But
Exactly.
that trailer
exactly.
that Emery
Yeah.
took to Texas.
Yeah.
I could do 115 on that thing and not even blink an eye.
And you wonder why you're doing 20 right now because you were doing 115.
No,
with a
I'm
trailer.
just saying that it's the fourth
would.
time it's happened.
All right.
So
See,
anyway,
that's wrong, dude. That is
Yeah,
so
it is.
wrong.
It is.
All right.
GMC is on
Marvin's back again with another 10 bones. Sup,
Marvin.
Sup, Marvin. Sup. Go. You gotta throw him the chin, dude. Throw him the chin. Sup, Marvin. Sup, Marvin.
Marvin.
Having trouble being equally as fast with a red dot as with irons. How many reps will it take? The problem with going from iron sights to a red dot is normally, you may not even realize you're doing it, but pressing out that pistol with iron sights, 99.9% of us push it out with the front sight slightly elevated. You've heard everybody say front sight, front sight, front sight. And the reason for that is as it's coming up in your periphery down here, you remember because you're focused on the target, as it's coming up, your eyes are acquiring the front sight first. Then as you're bringing it up, front sight, as it's getting pushed straight towards the target, the rear sight comes up, lines up. They line up perfectly, right? The problem though, people pressing out that red dot, let me find your red dot that doesn't have the Vulcan on it. I got so much crap on my desk, Steve. All right.
You have no idea. See, man.
All right. The problem with a red dot, even this Trijicon RMR, you notice it's not on one of my guns. That's I know a lot of people love RMRs. They were awesome 15 years ago. They're just the technology's improved, guys.
When they're not on this gun, that's what we call an indicator.
Yeah. So
Okay.
when you press this out, you can't see the red dot until it's perfectly aligned, and that's the problem you're having is you can't find it. Can't find it. So. Let me find you one that's got the Vulcan reticle. And I know everybody will say, Carl, I know you love the Vulcan reticle.
There's a reason.
Right, so, I got to turn
reason
it
for
for
the
you
season.
guys. Can you see right there? All right. So, what the Vulcan allows me to do is when I press the gun out, I know I have to see, I need to lower the front of the gun. And that brings it straight in. If it's sitting like that, I can see the edge of the circle. Which way do I need to move it? Direction of the circle. And this will help you cheat. I like this I love the Vulcan reticle for like shooting odd positions around vehicles and stuff. But for you just on the flat range, Marvin, let me find another one. I got 12 optics sitting here. This one actually has the Vulcan in it also. But what you need to do is modify your muscle memory so that as you press that gun out, you're not elevated. The front of the gun's not elevated even a little bit. You've got to practice pushing the gun out horizontal. And as you push it out, as soon as it comes up in front of your eye, you'll see that red dot. But if you're raising it so just the front sight, you're going to see that front sight. You're not going to see the red dot. And that's what's hurting you because it's slower because, well, the front sight's there, but you're not looking for the rear sight anymore. You're trying to find that dot. You need to modify your muscle memory. Now, to develop muscle memory, you guys have heard me say it before, it takes 3,000 to 5,000 correct repetitions to build muscle memory. It does, to build the habit. And that's why when you first learned how to drive, you had to drive consciously. You had to, all right, stop sign. I need to move my foot from the brake to the gas to the brake. I need to stop. I need to put on my directional. I need to look left. I need to look right. I need to look left again. Foot off the brake, onto the gas. I roll out. Worse if you're using a clutch, right? Fast forward, you guys don't even think about driving now. You drive subconsciously. That does not sound safe, but what it does is your subconscious mind is driving while your conscious mind can watch that green light turning yellow. It can listen to the radio. It can watch that bouncing ball come out from behind the car being chased by the oblivious kid that's not looking. It frees up the conscious mind to be aware of other things. Now, shooting is the same way. 3,000 to 5,000 reps to build perfect muscle memory. You have that, Marvin. I've seen you shoot a pistol, but you have it with iron sight. To change that muscle memory is not 3,000 to 5,000 repetitions. It's almost double. They've done studies, guys. I'm not making up the numbers. It takes 7,000 to 9,000 repetitions to change muscle memory because you're not erasing it. Think of it as a whiteboard, but you're not allowed to erase it. You have to write the new muscle memory over the top of the old muscle memory so many times that you can't read the old muscle memory anymore. So it's going to suck, Marvin, but relax. You don't have to do it with live ammo. You do it with dry firing and press out that gun. You want it completely horizontal. And as it comes up into your field of view, as soon as you see that red dot, bang, you're going to be pulling the trigger, bang.
Now, when you talk about the Vulcan reticle,
bang. Yep.
That reminds me of something. I can't remember one of the patrons. What his name is online, but we were going through some things with his rifles, and it's something that I always try to point out with the reticles. The human eye is doesn't like to accept certain different images. Okay, I'm a big fan of anything that's circular, because guess what? Both of our eyeballs and irises and pupils and everything else, they're circular. So the reticle, the crossing of the reticles and the focus on that reticle, when you master that, you master something that your whole subconscious is fighting you. Now, if you're in a submarine popping a periscope up and you need that horizontal, vertical thing, I'm with that, okay? And I don't want to say his name, Mr. Rowe, thank you for reminding me that there are certain things that work better subconsciously, kind of like what you talk about with the sight and the repetition. When you see that circle, your eye grabs that. Your eye is happy. Your mental is happy. When you got that vertical or horizontal, it's trying to work it out. Sometimes it don't work it out in speed, but you press on, and you learn. I remember when I was going through the Marine Corps Scout Sniper Instructor course, and shout out to all you Marines. Marines, when it comes to marksmanship, are badasses.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling you, badasses. The Army, you go to qualify, you show up on the range, you shoot 40 rounds for warm up, then you shoot 40 rounds, for qualification. Marine Corps, they camped out on the range for 5 fucking days. I was like, what are the guys doing? Oh, they're doing qual. I said, yeah, but they're still here. They were here Monday, today's Wednesday. Oh, so they'll shoot qual on Friday. But right now they're shooting KD out to 600 with iron sights.
Yep.
Okay, iron sights. So when you got circle reticles, I found that the eye grabs that a lot better. When I was developing the Mark 12 SPR, and we got Leupold to make the CQT line of scopes, 1.5 to 6, 3.5 to 9, then 2.5 to 8, and they had the mill dot reticle and everything else. They were like, okay, the stadium lines, gosh, guys, it's killing me. Shoot the 3rd, 4th stadium line on the Christmas tree with your Palm Pilot saying this right here. Forget all that. Get on your gun, learn your gun. Beware of a man that only owns one gun, because more than likely he knows how to shoot it. So circle on your reticle. You'll get better. That's why I don't like shooting chevrons. A lot of others like chevrons. I remember when we first started, I think it was either the British or somebody. They had British.
You don't say the T.
They
British.
The Germans.
Say it. British.
British.
No T.
Yeah,
We poured that shit in the harbor.
in Boston Harbor. But if you look at the World War I, World War II sniper scopes, the Germans, they had the Post. And the Post was a chevron at the top. Then the British later on they went with the chevron. And look at something like that, and then look at a circle in the center, But don't make it like a circle dot. Make it an open circle. And I'm telling you, your eye and your subconscious will be happy. Just try it. Don't take my word for it. You try it, and you come back, and you say, you know what? Fucking Steve, yeah, I know. Don't, yeah, I know. So, just that.
Real quick, there have been a couple people that have said that they can help Steve with his truck. Here's the deal. You guys can email me at tacticalrifleman1@gmail.com or all you got to do is in the comments section, not the chat room, in the comments section, just put, hey, Steve, I can help you with your truck problems. And what I'll do is tomorrow
and it's not going to be $9,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Seriously,
don't say, hey, I can help you with at $8,900. No.
I will.
Listen, here's a chip. Put the chip in.
Guys, I will check the comments tomorrow, the next day, and I will get you in contact with Steve. I will. So just put it in the comment section. You don't have to put your phone numbers, your email addresses, nothing. Put it there, and then I will. Well, I'll end up telling you to email me and everything. So we'll figure it out.
Shout out to all the patrons. I enjoyed meeting you guys.
We had a great time.
Oh yeah, awesome.
We had a great time.
Shout out to the fire chief. You know who you are.
Yeah, you guys.
Shout out to Miami, to Houston.
You guys that are not patrons, you don't know what you're missing.
Shout out to Vegas.
We had
in Ethiopia.
Travis Hall. Travis Hall was there with his dogs, and we just had a great time. Randy Rawhide Worth, Sularoo, all these. We had
Chad. I got to find a chance get to meet Chad.
Mormon.
And Chad, I apologize. I got your class confused with Chris's. I was talking about the cipher decoding class with Chad.
Chris Weatherman.
And Chad was humble enough to look at me and go, yes, Steve, because he's like, Steve, I didn't teach that class. Chris did. But Chad, I got it. I apologize, brother. I got it. I was a little bit into my cups that night, and but anyways, great meeting you guys. Meeting Chris
Weatherman did a class
and Angry Americans.
He did a class on one-time pads, ciphers for encryption of messages, and stuff like that.
Donnie.
Donnie. Yeah. We had a great group of instructors, great group of patrons. All right, so we're going to wrap this up tonight.
And to finish it up with a Little Bird ride. I didn't even get a Little Bird ride. I haven't had a Little Bird ride in like 27 years.
Giuseppe M threw down 10 bones, but then he didn't have a question. He didn't.
Sue was poopy face because he didn't get a Little Bird ride.
Yeah, you guys hang in there. Susan had to leave at 9. Guys, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor again, Gunspot. Right here, man. Gunspot. Check them out, guys. I'm not gonna play the commercial for you, Gun, because that's just wrong. What kind of guy would do that? Play the commercial a second time. But anyways, support Gunspot because I appreciate them supporting us here tonight. And the cool part is you're getting access to your deals around you, but also all the other FFLs all across the U.S. No out-of-state sales tax, all that bullshit that you get hit with at other places. Good stuff indeed. All right, parting words of wisdom, Steve.
Just love God, love your country, love your family. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and greedy, like Silver State Armory and Precision Reflex, LWRCI. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, For he or she is truly his brother's or sister's keeper,
keeper,
and the finder of lost children. And he will strike down upon thee with a great vengeance and furious anger. Yep. I know someone out there that's like, you know what? Oh yeah, man, we screwed him over. We screwed him over for years. Yep, but you're sick and crippled. And you would know his name is the Lord. And bring his vengeance upon thee.
All right, for all of you that sent us gifts and stuff, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Remind me, I got to get you your Danish Kringle.
Kringle.
They're awesome, dude. I'm gonna eat mine at coffee tomorrow morning. I got the family coming over. We've had a great night tonight. Always great hanging out with you guys. I'm glad. I want to thank the Lord for with the thunderstorms outside not interrupting my internet. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. You got your box closed. Safe travels home, Steve.
Guys.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Looking forward to it. So anything I can do to help you guys out, I'm here. Your patrons, I hope that I had some kind of impact on you. Shout out to Ken and Nicole. Nicole, you are a work in process, but you're working it. Making it happen. Remember, if you have a 22 that's similar to your handgun or your rifle, like we talked about out there in Texas, that's the way to go. And
much
remember, next time you come to the class and I'm there, and you don't say, Steve, I bought a 22 that's just like my Ruger Precision. Other than that, I'm like, take the fast trip off the tower.
Nicole, we love you.
Coming right there. Coming right there. Coming right there. Coming right there.